Hi there, thank you for joining Sarah with Bigfoot Fades. Today we're going to Colton taking Highway 211. I'm going to show you where there was a sighting about 34 years ago. But first, as I drive to Colton on Highway 211, I wanted to show you a spot that I was driving home back in January. It happened right about here. It was about 6 o'clock at night and dark outside. There were no other cars on the road in front of me or coming towards me. It was a long day at work and I wasn't even thinking about Bigfoot. This was before I even started my podcast, and my thoughts were just about regular how my day went and what I'm going to make for dinner, when all of a sudden a good-sized rock came flying out of the trees and hit my windshield. It was really loud and freaked me out. I didn't think to save my dash cam footage of it because I didn't think it could have been a Bigfoot. I didn't realize that they were really active in that area until later when I started getting more information and reports in. And that was about the area where it had happened, where there's kind of a waterfall there. I mentioned that there are no other cars that were coming towards me or behind me because it couldn't have flown off of a car. I've had rocks fly off of cars and hit my windshield before, and it's definitely a nice loud noise, but this was probably 3 times louder. I actually thought my windshield was going to be broken when I got home, but luckily it wasn't. Okay, so today we're going to Colton because I have an anonymous report about a man's aunt and his mom that saw one when his mom was pregnant with him about 34 or 35 years ago. I wanted to take you with me on a journey to actually see the sighting where it's at because I know many of you don't actually live in Oregon and thought it might be really cool to actually see where the physical location is versus just hearing a story. I want you to see how luscious and green in this area is, with a lot of water and waterfalls along the highway. This story happened in Colton. It ran across the road in about one step. This man's Aunt Diane did an interview back then and was on a documentary. I tried to look up her first and last name that I know, and I was unable to find in any articles or the documentary that the man was referring to. I'm hoping to keep looking and discover this later, but I still wanted to share this story. Also, there's Frank Kanister, who is a janitor at the school, and he also wrote a book about it back in the day. I just heard about Frank Kanister on another interview with Tom Powell on the podcast called A Flash of Beauty YouTube episode. Another local researcher with an amazing story you should check out. Colton seems to be a very active area. I have heard more reports of the Bigfoot Society's podcast. If you're interested in hearing more Oregon reports, you should check out his podcast. His playlists are per state, and he has over 160 just in Oregon alone, and are some of the best stories that I have heard of. Going back to Colton's story with the man and his aunt and mom. This happened around Gray's Road. And I will point out where Gray's Road is. Also, up on Hunter's Road area is where my friend said that he also found Bigfoot activity. And there have been other reports leading around that area. Alright, and then coming up here is right around the area where he said his mom and aunt were driving while his mom was pregnant with him, and they seen a Bigfoot go right across the road. It was almost like it was in 1 or 2 steps and it was across the road so fast. Thank you for checking out the story.